Hello everybody, my name is Ash and today I want to do a quick bookshelf tour for you because this thing is my pride and joy, as you can see. Um, when we moved house, I just desperately wanted a library room because in my old house you literally could not walk around in my room because it was just 90% shelves and books and it was organized terribly. So I was so excited when we moved and I got all these wonderful shelves and I got so much more room and space, and really I just adore this bookshelf so much and I would love to show it off to you today, to the point where I'm trying to make this intro longer so I can just revel in this frame because look how cool I look in front of my bookshelf. Oh my god. So I have, according to my counter on my phone, I have 661 books. However, that might be a little give or take because I'm bad at counting. So I'm just going to confidently say that I have over 650 books because I know that for a fact. The organization system is just kind of what makes sense to me, so I'm hoping that I can explain it well enough. But yeah, let's just get into it and I will show you my bookshelf. I am not showing you the rest of the room because it is kind of a mess. It's the room where all the stuff that I don't quite have space for goes in, and I've been meaning to tidy, I've been meaning to organise, and I've just not gotten to that. So it's like all my scrapbook stuff is in here, all my old college folders are in here. I did my A-levels over a month ago. I gotta fix that. It's just, there's just piles of paper everywhere that I will never need again. I kept them because I was gonna burn them with a friend and it just never happened, and now I just have piles of sociology and English and performing arts paperwork everywhere that just, it just needs to go. I never want to look at it again. My 0 degree script, gotta go. My stuff on Durkheim, burn it. So we are going to start with this big bookshelf. These are, of course, Billy bookshelves from IKEA, two big ones and one small one down the middle. That means they pretty much fit perfectly on this wall. And then I have some more shelves over there that we'll get to in a minute. Also, not to film like a Facebook mum, but I'm really short, so you're gonna have to bear with me while I try and get to the top shelves, because I am 5'2", 5'3", I think. I don't even reach the top shelf and I have stuff on top, so you'll have to bear with me and my stool. Up at the top, as well as some Lego and 12 Year Old Me's Funko Pop collection, I have all my hardbacks. I don't like hardbacks, so they are up here out the way. So yeah, they're just kind of a weird collection. Most of the time hardbacks are presents from family members, or this is a first edition copy of the pairing that I pre-ordered. Most of it's gifts because I just don't like hardbacks, so I don't buy them for myself. And then this shelf is my kind of horror and Queen stuff, because those who know me know that I absolutely adore Queen. So I have a bunch of tabletop books and this DVD and magazine combo. I got this for my 10th birthday from my parents. It's my prized possession. I love this book. It's basically a big book of photos that Brian May, and I think some that Freddie took, across the entire course of Queen. It's such a cool book. And then we then go into horror books. So Christopher Triana very kindly has books of all different shapes and sizes. So I kind of have to keep them in this little descending thing that goes into them. So I have all of these here. I love the Riverman duology and Full Brutal, so I really need to get to some more of his stuff soon. I did not like the Old Ice Cream, I thought that was really bad. Up here we have Gertrude and Gatorade, which are two little Halloween decorations from Next. And then we have some more horror books. So I have a mixture of indie and regular horror up here. So I have some Anya Albon, some Jack Ketchum, some Judith Sonnet and some Sergio Gomez. But then I also have two copies of Meddling Kids because one wasn't enough, clearly. American Psycho, a classic. And then I try and keep all my eco plant horror together. So these three are next to each other up here. Also, even though the shelves look full, I really need a little rearrange because I have some fucking massive gaps in some of the books, and they're just they look full, but I could fit another book on each shelf. So I really do just basically need to take everything off and put it back on again at some point. But up here we have some, this is kind of the indie horror shelf with some other stuff tucked in. So I have my Clay McLeod Chapman books here, and then I have 5 Rewind or Die books. I have all of TJ Payne's work, and my prized possession, I of course have all of David Sodergren's work, because David Sodergren has been one of my favorite authors for 3 years now. I've read all of this, I own all of this. As soon as he releases a new book, I buy it, I read it. I love this man's work. I would read his grocery lists And then, unlike Gertrude and Gatorade, this guy is just called Bear, but he's pretty cute. This is just some more horror, believe it or not. Wow. So I have some Nat Cassidy, Huron Ennis, and then just some random bits here and there, like some random shorter books going into like some more longer books. Really, this like shelf doesn't have a theme. It's just general horror that didn't fit on these two shelves. So I have like all my Chuck Palahniuk together. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I have all my Irvine Welsh, K-Pax, and my Last of Us art book. And I like that because the Queen and Freely and the art book like bookshelves either side. This is my King family shelf because it's all my Stephen King and then 2 random Joe Hills on the end there. My friend looked at this the other day and she was like, hey, that looks like Daniel Radcliffe. I was like, you're never gonna believe this. I love 80s King paperbacks. I hate the, oh my god, they're wedged in there. Hate the way that they look now, like the stock images, the like silly spines. I abhor current King books so much. So when I can find old paperbacks where they're smaller, they have these like really cool drawn covers, I buy them. So I have quite a few stacked up here. And then I also have some modern ones that I've bought when I was like 12, 13. In this middle shelf, I try and keep series together. So I have, the only I have a couple mangas, but Banana Fish is the only one that I properly collect because I love Banana Fish. Like, it's so special to me. I've loved it since I was like 13. I've been slowly, this is like a year and a half's worth of collecting. I just pick them up whenever I remember because they were out of print for the longest time. And then they came back in a year ago. So I've been like slowly snatching them up before they disappear again. And then here are all my Hardcase crime books. I have, and look, the difference in heights annoys me, but I wanted to keep authors together over height. So all my Stephen Kings are together and the entire Angel Dare trilogy is together. I love the Angel Dare trilogy. It's possibly my favourite book series, and Chokehold is one of my favourite books. Yeah. And then I have some more fandom books over here. So I have the Joey Drew Studios Employee Handbook, Dan and Phil's books, because I'm a sucker for Dan and Phil. I love them. And the Book of Bale and Journal Free from Gravity Falls, of course. This is my vampire shelf, as you can tell from the excessive red and black theming. But I have most of Stephenie Meyer's work down here. Don't ask why I have 2 copies of Breaking Dawn. The first 4 were my mum's, and then she had a hardback of Breaking Dawn. But this thing is like a fucking house break. You can't take it anywhere. You can't hold it. It's like an arm workout. So for like 50p, I got a paperback copy from the charity shops, which means I can actually fucking read it. So yeah. And then I bought myself a copy of Midnight Sun because my mum didn't have it. And I just found a copy of The Host in the charity shop, and even though it's the vampire shelf, I want to keep all of Stephenie Meyer's books together, so The Host is there. We then go into some like, how to Put in Everyone Else. Was such a bad book, man. And then we go into the first 2 Vampire Chronicles that I have, because if you've seen literally any of my videos, you know I love Into the Vampire. And then this is what I have of the Vampire Diaries series. These are 2 books in one with TV show tie-ins on the cover. I got these all 6 of these, there's 8 books tie-ins, for £6 from a charity shop in Nottingham, which is absolutely crazy. I count myself very lucky for that. And then this is just some miscellaneous stuff up here. So I have Nick Cutter / Craig Davidson's book, same person, Nick Cutter is a pen name, so I have those 3 together. Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and then some graphic novels. I just hit my elbow, ow. So I have, this should really be with the other fandom books, but it doesn't fit, but I have The Guide to the Button House, and I have a bunch of Gerard Way comics, so Killjoys and Umbrella Academy, and then a random volume of Something's Killing the Children that I never read. And then we, of course, get into my queer romance shelf. I have a lot on here. I used to think romance and fantasy were my least favourite genres. And then in the last kind of year or 2, I've just fallen in love with both of them. So this is my romance shelf. So I have all the Casey McQuiston's work, and I have 2 copies of The Pairing because hardbacks are horrible. And this was like £5 in the works. I have both of Sydney Kaga's books, even though I don't actually like them that much. I bought both and then read one and was like, oh, these aren't very good. Both of Paige Powers' books, because as a trans person, I just adore Paige's writing. It's so refreshing to read romance books with trans main characters. Really well written, very much recommend. and then some William Hussey. I have all of Eric J. Brown's books, and this one is signed randomly. I found it in the Trafford Centre Waterstones, and it's signed in live ink, and they just like had it tucked away on a shelf. I was like, bro. And then again, we have my Dave Sodergrens and my Alexis Halls, my other favourite author. I have and I've read all of the Spires books. Pansies is one of my favourite books of all time. If you know me, you know that. And then I also have London Calling, Material World, the first book in the Bake Expectations series, and Looking for Group. I then go on to my Osman shelf because I'm a big fan of Alice Osman. I've read all of her work. My flex is that I really liked Heartstopper when nobody knew what the fuck it was, no one heard of it. But I have the yearbook, I have all 5 volumes, the colouring book, and all of her novels and novellas. Solitaire, again, was one of my favourite books when I was 13, so for my 18th birthday, I bought myself the 10th anniversary special edition, which made me feel very old. And then I also have both of Lewis Hancock's memoirs because I'm local to St. Helen and he did a signing there, which is super duper cool. So they are, it's such a better way to do this, but they are signed and addressed to me, which is amazing. And I actually used some of these as verbatim when I played a trans character in my final devising piece in performing arts. So they are quite special to me. This is just a miscellaneous shelf of stuff that's on here. All my short stories are together, but beyond that, there's no real kind of theming to this. Like, I have some random Dystopia, Bullet Train, Elliot Page's memoirs randomly there with Chuck Tingle. I have Camp Damascus somewhere else in this room, but I think it's under a pile of stuff because I hate it. And I'm like, if the cover gets bent, I'll celebrate. Shit book, I hate it. And then I have all my short stories together, and I just realised that there's a random one in the middle. That shouldn't be there. So all of these are short stories. And then Eric LaRocca's other work is just with his short stories to keep it all together. Yeah, I'm looking at this shelf and realizing it really needs reorganizing because that's horrible. And have Icarus, my baby. I love this book. And I of course have Andrew Rannells' second memoir. And I bet you're thinking, Ash, where is Andrew Rannells' first memoir? Why, it's over here in this frame. Andrew Rannells is one of my all-time favourite actors. I adore him so much. And he came to London to be in Tammy Faye at the Almeida Theatre. So this was like years ago now, so I look completely different. But I managed to meet him and have a conversation. He was so, so lovely. And he signed my copy of Too Much Is Not Enough. And there's one of my tickets. So it's in this frame and it's needed to go up for so long. But I'm just too scared to put it on the wall in case it falls down because like there is a lot of weight in this thing. So, and then back over here, I just have some Fazbear books, Tales from the Pizzaplex, and then just some random horror down here. I have like Pen Pounder, The Bone, Virgin Suicides, and I have like a tiny bit of indie. I have Squirm and Summer I Died over here, and a copy of Close that I found, and then I have Grady Hendrix' Paperbacks from Hell, which is a guide on horror books from the 80s, 90s, and 70s that were taken out of print. This is my sci-fi, fantasy, dark academia shelf. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, so it's only a teeny tiny corner over here, because I have a little bit, and I didn't like Project Hail Mary, but I did like The Darkness Outside Us, so we'll see. But I have sci-fi here, which goes into dark academia, which goes into fantasy. So I have some more traditional fantasy, talking The Hobbit, Patrick Ness, that guy, who we will not be talking about. And then it goes into some more modern, like, today fantasy. So I have, of course, Where the Dark Stands Still. I'm saying this a lot, but one of my favourite books of all time. I love Where the Dark Stands Still. I'm so excited to read A Treachery of Swans. And then I have like TJ Klune's book. I do also have a copy of Under the Whispering Door, but I'm currently reading it, so it is in my room. I should have put it on here for the video. I didn't. I have one V.E. Schwab book because I was very excited to read Vicious, and then I didn't like it. And then I just have my two kind of guilty pleasure, not quite romantasy, not quite not romantasy books over here. So I got The Cruel Prince in the charity shop for £1, and I got a copy of Once Upon a Broken Heart. And then over here, I have the entire series of Unfortunate Events, all 13 books. I butchered what I was saying. I read these from my primary school library when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved them, but it meant that I never had my own copies. So I spent 13 years collecting them from charity shops, one by one, until I had all 13. So this is really like a triumph to me. 6 is not hardback and the rest of them are, so I'm still on the hunt for a copy of The Ersatz Elevator in hardback, and then it'll be really complete. But for now, like, I'm more than happy with this. Like, these are the books that got me into reading. They are so special to me. I'm so happy to finally have a full collection. And then I of course have Howl's Moving Castle and Castle in the Air. I know what you're thinking, why aren't they with the other fantasy books? I don't know. But yeah, I love Howl's Moving Castle, and then so I got Castle in the Air, and then I was like, oh, this is not a sequel, it's just marketed as one to make people buy it. But yeah, I like Howl's Moving Castle is like tabbed and underlined within an inch of its life. I adore this book, again, very special to me, love it very dearly. I really want a tattoo of Calcifer at some point. And then this is just a shelf of like random short paperbacks. So I have like James Herbert, Dean Koontz, Dave Pelzer, like some just random like short stuff, and then randomly some Hannibal books and some Dan Brown, and then just some random stuff on the end. Whoops. And like Now Conjurers again should be with the fantasy, and it's just not. I have nothing to say. And then like some random poetry on the end. I have On Sun Swallowing by Dakota Warren and some poetry by a local poet that I bought. Down here is thrillers, Good for Her, and sad books. So I have some Freida McFadden's, some like Gillian Flynn, just some general like thrillers that you're going to find on everyone's shelf, really. And then I have all of Eliza Clark's work because I loved Boy Parts, but I read one book, one short story in She's Always Hungry, and it was just blatant plagiarism of Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, so I'm yet to read anything else by her just because it's fallen down my priority list for that. And then I just have some sad books, you know, Mute For You, 5 Feet Apart, 13 Reasons Why. This is my Riordan shelf. I, of course, have the original 10 Percy Jackson books, the first 3 Trials of Apollo, and a first edition hardback of The Sun and the Star, because every queer person who came out young has a special place in their heart for Nico D'Angelo. These are like my actual copies that I read when I was like 12, 13, so they are battered and bruised, and then I borrowed my friend Lottie's Heroes of Olympus books. So these actually are copies that haven't been read, which is why the spines aren't broken, because I'm a chronic spine breaker. I don't care. But they were like in the works. The full set was like £15, and I was like, you know what, I just want them on my shelf because I love them so much. So I picked them up, but they are not the ones that I read. Over here is plays. I have 3 of Martin McDonagh's plays because The Pillar Man is my favourite play. Martin McDonagh is my favourite playwright. If you don't know who that is, he wrote In Bruges and The Banshees of Inisherin. If you've ever seen either of those movies, they are Martin McDonagh scripts. I'm sorry, I'm really nasally. I also have some Shakespeare over here, and then like A Doll's House, Death of the Salesman. They were both for my A-level English course. And then I have DNA, and punk rock, which were for my GCSE and A-level drama courses. I didn't take A-level drama, I did performing arts, it's fine. And then I have some John Green into some Bukowski, for when you're feeling 2010s Tumblr. And then I have just like some random bits here and there, and I have 2 of Carlotta Saini's books. I did The Kite Runner for A-level English Lit and absolutely fell in love with it, so I have a copy of 1,000 Splendid Suns that I need to get to. Then my local charity shop, someone just donated, I already had One of Us Is Lying, but somebody just donated like the entirety of Karen M. McManus's catalogue at the time, so I just have all of those. And then 2 Nicola Yoon books, because I was a big fan of her when I was like 12. Now this is my classic shelf. If you say how many classics have you read, I think the answer may be 2. As I said before, I love Banana Fish, and those who have seen the show know that all the episodes are named after classic book titles. So for like, what, 6 years now, 5 years, I've been slowly collecting from charity shops classics with the names of the episodes that I've been meaning to do a video where like I read a bunch of them or something, but I gave up a while ago because I was collecting them for so long and I haven't read any of them. And yeah, there is some stuff on here that I bought because I wanted to read, like F. Scott Fitzgerald. I actually like, I can do of his stuff, but like I'm just gonna say it, classics are not my thing. Wuthering Heights I also bought because I do want to read that, but like I read a couple classics and they just really aren't for me, which I have no shame in saying. If you think the fact I don't read classics makes me a fake reader, I don't really care. And then over here we have another series shelf, so I have The Maze Runner. I think the rest are downstairs on like the family bookshelf, and then randomly In Deeper Waters because it didn't fit on the fantasy shelf or the gay shelf. And of course I have J.K. Turfling, we're gonna ignore her. And then I have Suzanne Collins's books. I obviously have the first 3 Hunger Games that I read in high school. And then I've tried, don't hurt me, but I've tried reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes 4 times now, and I've never got further than that far in. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to get Sunrise on the Reaping when it comes out in paperback because I want to read it, because I think I just didn't like this because it was about President Snow and no one likes President Snow, so I just had no drive or rooting for the characters. So the book was quite flippant to me, but I'm hoping Sunrise on the Reaping will be different because I, like everyone, adore Haymitch. And then again, this is just like a miscellaneous shelf of stuff that didn't fit on the other one. So I just have some like Murder Most of Ladylike is down here, some random horror and thriller stuff. Wicked, I bought that drunk. Sorry. I have my Greek mythology retellings, some more random horror, some Adam Silvera books, Paris Hilton's memoir, The First Bridget Jones, some more horror, and then some just random fandom books, hardbacks, like random things down here. And then we move on to this shelf over here, which used to house all our like CDs and DVDs in the old house, but I still collect DVDs, but my parents don't, so they got rid of all the DVDs and I got these shelves, which is very, very cool. So I have some Taylor Jenkins Reid up here, as well as like just some random odds and ends. I don't have like my random straight romance up here because I don't read a lot of it, but I have the Dream Harbour series, the X-Hex, and I'm actually really excited for this. I got it in the works the other day. It's Nightshade by Autumn Woods with this really cool sprayed edges. So that's probably going to be my next read. I'm very excited about it. Over here I have another cubby of queer fiction, so A Little Bit Country, one of my favourite books. The Fake Dating Game, one of my least favourite books. I hate that book. Some random rom-coms that then go into Glasgow Boys, which is not a rom-com, but it's still queer. It's like a drama, I think. And then The Prospects, and a little book I have, which is A Queer Little History of Art that my aunt got me years ago when I first came out. It's like a little special book to me. It's just a book full of queer art over the years. I look through it very often. It was such a thoughtful gift. I really love it. And then over here we go into a bit more queer stuff, some rom-coms, so my Kayla Dietrich books are together. And then randomly Diamond Oxygen Thief and The Haunting of Hill House and Wranglestone, which I used to have with All That's Left in the World because they're very similar books. But I hated Wranglestone, so it got shoved off over here. And then a book that the same aunt got me, again, very thoughtful. I've looked through it so much, but it's just a guide to books for like different events of your life. It's really interesting. And then down here, we are really just getting into some odds and ends. I have 2 R.L. Stine books. I used to read a lot of Goosebumps on ebook, so I don't have a lot of paperbacks, but I did used to love them. I just only have Night of the Living Dummy, and then Dilate for Aunties, and some more random queer books. I have the first 3 Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and then this is my translated fiction shelf. So I have Japanese fiction up to here, and then I believe this is Spanish, and this is Mexican. So, yes, I really liked Reservoir Bitches. It was nominated for the, oh my god, International Booker Prize for this year, and I'm gutted that it did not win. It was such a good book. I loved it very, very much. This little cart I bought some organisers for, I swear, like, this is all my scrapbook supplies. It is getting organised, I promise. And then down here is where I just keep all my single issue comics, so they're all just down here, stacked. Again, I have some, like, little organisers that I've been meaning to put them all into. I have a bunch of Summer of Superman stuff. I have the entire Nice House on the Lake first season. I have some Bunny Masks, some Walking Dead. Yeah, lots of single issue stuff in there. And then I have another book shelf behind this door because it's books that I don't like enough to put on the main shelf, so they're just kind of there, where I'm not looking for them day after day. I don't need to get to them unless it's like stuff like this, but they're still just kind of there. Yeah, this is definitely something. This is my true crime, like, witchcraft section over here. So I have like some books on vampires and burial, demonology. These were my mum's. And I have some Christopher Berry D books before I realised that Christopher Berry D is a terrible writer and just puts his opinions into everything. And I just have some books on cryptids because I wanted to be a cryptozoologist before I found out that was not a real job. It's still a very little dream of mine though. And then this is like just random books stacked all the way back there, where they're ones that like I don't plan on getting rid of, but I also don't want on my shelf. Like they're just kind of here, they're chilling. And then this is books I do want to get rid of. This is all books that I'm trying to sell or donate or to give to anybody that will take them. And then I have some more down here that I'm trying to get rid of. And then randomly I have a copy of Krampus at the bottom. I'm not getting rid of that copy of Krampus. I'm keeping that. But everything else in this stack is like stuff that I'm trying to get rid of. So like I have 2 copies of Misery. This was terrible. I want to get rid of that copy of Womb because I'm never going to read it. and then like there's just so much random stuff stacked everywhere, and then a bunch of VHS horror at the bottom that was my dad's and is now in my collection. And that was my bookshelf tour. I wore my Team Edward shirt especially, and I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making this. I've given like fake bookshelf tours in my head so many times that I'm excited to finally commit one to camera and show it to you guys. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you later. There will hopefully be some more vlogs to come in August because I have a bunch of really cool stuff planned with some friends, including a trip to Wales. So there will be more vlogs in future, but for now, you are just getting yapped at about books. I will see you later. Oh, I just knocked a book with my ass.